we are joined by one of the stars of Downton Abbey, Joanne Froggatt. By the way, goes by Jo, which I love.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Yes,
Good morning. Obviously plays Anna Bates.
Yes.
And just, Golden Globe winning just recently a month ago, and SAG winning from just last weekend.
Yeah, for Ensemble. We were just, oh my goodness, it's been the most amazing January. Yeah.
And this season, by the way, season 5 of Downton Abbey is airing Sundays at 9 on Masterpiece on PBS. Season 5, so good.
It's a great season. I think it's really strong. It has all those things that we've come to love and expect from Downton, a bit of romance, bit of tragedy, not too much, and comedy, it's got it all in there. And I think Julian's done a really great job with the scripts.
Yes, and a bit of travel. I like Anna always she gets to go with Lady Mary wherever she goes.
Yeah, she gets to pop down to London now and again.
Sure.
She gets to put on a brown hat instead of that black dress, and then leave the house every once in a while, which is nice for me. So,
this season, I'm curious about your storyline in particular. Was so, just watching season 4 of Downton Abbey, your character is raped. It is just a very, and I think viewers of this show and loyal viewers, of which there are so many, and people are obsessed with Downton Abbey. It was so challenging because we grew to love Anna so much, and I think a lot of viewers felt very protective of her, and it was such a difficult storyline and such a sad storyline to watch. How was that for you? Did Julian Fellows, obviously the creator, sit you down and kind of walk you through and let you know, here's where we're going with Anna?
Not really. No, it was quite a surprise to me as well. I remember I asked for a meeting with Gareth Neame, our exec producer, just before we started filming, and I said I just wanted to know what my storylines were going to be for the next season. And it was a couple of weeks before we started, and he said, you've got really, really big stuff to do this year. And I was like, oh, okay, what is it? And he said, I'm not going to tell you. I was like, okay. And he said, no, because, nobody knows their storylines before we read them. He said, I really want you to just read it in the script. I just really want you to have the experience of reading it. So it was good, actually, because reading the script had that same sort of shocking moment that the viewers did when they watched it. And it was, something that, was quite a controversial storyline to attempt, but I'm really pleased that Julian wrote it. And I think, I think it's a really important thing for drama to be able to open up conversations about, sensitive subject matters. And also he wanted, the reason he wrote this particular story for Anna was because he wanted it to be the sort of the person with the biggest heart, the character with the biggest heart in the show. So there was just no question in anyone's mind that she was absolutely, completely, a victim of what had happened to her. And she was completely innocent of anything. And he said that's why he chose this storyline for this particular character. And that happened for women in service as well. So it's true to the times as well.
It's interesting how you talk about how it can open up conversations, and that's sort of, you got into that in your Golden Globe acceptance speech, which actually I want to play a clip of in case anyone missed it, because it was very emotional. And let's take a quick listen to that now, and then we can talk about it.
After this storyline aired, I received a small number of letters from survivors of rape, and one woman summed up the thoughts of many by saying she wasn't sure why she'd written, but she just felt in some way she wanted to be heard. And I'd just like to say I heard you, and I hope saying this so publicly means in some way you feel the world hears you.
What's it like receiving? I mean, I know.
I cried when I watched it.
You're going to get me going again now.
And I'm crying now listening to it. It was such a beautiful speech and such a really moving moment during the ceremony.
What's it like to get those letters, Joanne, and obviously hear these stories and understand that you are maybe you and the team, by putting this story out there, are connecting with some people in a profound way?
Yeah, I mean, it is it feels exactly that, very profound to for these women to sort of felt able to write to me and be so candid with their experiences. And, I learnt a great deal from reading those letters as well. And I mean, what you just heard there, what I said in the speech, was something that I thought about when I read this particular lady's letter, probably about 8 months ago. And I thought to myself, wow, if I ever have the opportunity where it's, it feels right to sort of say this publicly, that I'd really like to do that. And, I never thought it would be that particular moment on that particular night, but sort of as I was going up to the stage, I thought this is the time, this is when I want to say it, you know. So I'm really pleased that I was able to do that, and and I'm pleased I managed to sort of keep it together just about as well.
You could hear you starting to crack at the end.
I barely managed it, but I just got through it without, you know, totally breaking down. But you know, that was the most, you know, meaningful part of certainly this storyline for me, was receiving those letters, and possibly of my career, really, you know.
So when you went into this season, to season 5 of Downton, were you like, okay, like, give me an easier season, or?
Well, no, I mean, it's great to be challenged as an actor, and you know, to say that I still felt challenged in season 4 of a show is great, because, you know, from an acting point of view, because, you know, when you know a character so well, it can become second nature, which is a good thing in some ways, but in other ways you have to be really careful that you're not, you know, sort of just doing wide sweeps of scenes, and that you're still focusing on the detail and still making a detailed character. So that was a positive. And I, you know, as we're an ensemble, different seasons, you know, different storylines come to the forefront, and sometimes we're leading a scene, sometimes we're supporting a scene. So certainly Anna and Bates, as most of the viewers will have seen in the US, start off season 5 in a more positive place, but they're very, you know, finding it very difficult to find the space to heal and move on with their lives, because the issue of Mr. Green is still hanging over them, and his death and all of those things. So.
Yeah, it's very much still a present storyline in season 5. I mean, I know this is already aired, this season is already finished in the UK, yes. Right? Yeah. So what are we going to see coming up? It sounds like poor Mr. Bates is like...
Yeah, I mean, there's a few ups and downs still for Anna and Bates to come in season 5, as there always are for poor Anna and Bates. They never seem to catch a break, do they? Not for long, anyway. So, so there's still a little bit of a roller coaster ahead for them.
Is she a suspect now? Because she's seen sort of at the scene of the crime a little bit there, Jo.
Well, you'll have to wait and see. You know, it's more than my job's worth to let the cat out of the bag. But we'll, I mean, there's, it's quite a mystery to be solved.
I have another mystery. My wife has a theory. She likes coming up with theories all the time. So I'll tell you her current theory. Her current theory is that Lady Mary, even though she's trying to get out of this relationship, right, that she's actually pregnant because she didn't know how to use the birth control correctly. How do you feel about that?
Wow, it's a good theory. It's a good theory.
By the way, if your theory is true, Anna would totally have to, like, perform the abortion. Like, I feel like that's like, would be her job, you know? That
may be slightly above and beyond the call of duty, I think, possibly, but...
Anna's very loyal.
She's very loyal, yeah. She's very loyal. Maybe not that loyal, but...
We're talking to Joanne Froggatt, who plays Anna Bates on Downton Abbey season 5, airing Sundays at 9 on Masterpiece on PBS. So, like, people going crazy after the SAG Awards because they're like, oh my God, is she taking meetings in Los Angeles? Is Downton Abbey going to end after season 6? What can you say?
Well, you know, I mean, we've been on this amazing journey with the show for the past 5 seasons. We're about to start going into season 6. We actually have the read through on Monday, so I'll be rushing back to England today. And you know, we'll just see how it goes. You know, I mean, it's been a great run so far, and I mean, the truth is, we don't know whether we're carrying on after season 6. And at this point in proceedings, we sort of never do until we've got the official say so that we're getting another series or whatever. So we'll just wait and see. You know, what the powers that be decide.
So Julian Fellows has a show, I mean, in the US that he's working on, right? Like, would that be weird theoretically, to do the show without him?
Yeah, I don't think we could do the show without Julian. I mean, he's been, attached to the American show for the past 4 years or something, and he's always said he's not going to start writing that until he's finished with Downton. And there's been speculation over the past 4 years, you know, it's this year he's starting, and and then we've carried on, which has been great for us, obviously. So yeah, no, I mean, it's very much Julian's baby, Downton. It's, you know, he's the sole writer, creator, and I mean, I don't think it could be passed on to anybody else. It's either him or no one, really.
I love when I've interviewed a bunch of people. We've interviewed a bunch of people on the show, and it's always, I don't know why it's more jarring on this show than on other ones, because obviously a lot of people are always, you know, in costumes in movies or on TV. But to see all of you out of like your, you know, especially like the service outfits and the hair and you know,
real glamorous look I get on Downton, yeah.
Do you get recognized as Anna, or I guess or are people like, no, that can't be her?
Yeah, I do a little bit, but not as much as certain other characters and actors from the show. I mean, Jim Carter that plays Mr. Carson, he's very recognisable because he's so tall and statuesque, and he's got a very very distinctive voice. So Jim, bless him, everywhere he goes, it's Mr. Carson, Mr. Carson. Whereas for me, it's occasionally people come and say hi or whatever, and lots of people sort of say, oh, did I used to go to school with you, or my mum, or it's sort of a familiar face, but they can't quite place where. So, but the Downton viewers are so lovely. I've not had any bad experiences through viewers of the show. Everyone's so polite and just genuinely wants to know about the show, and I'm always happy to talk to people in that situation.
What's the difference between an American Downton fan and a British Downton fan?
I think there's not a huge difference, but I think in general, it's a huge generalization.
Stereotype us, please.
I'm going to stereotype you. So I think the American fans are just that little bit more confident in coming over and sort of being openly excited about it, whereas I think the Brits are just slightly more sort of apologetic about coming over to say, oh, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to say hello, which is, a part of...
So we're poor-mannered is what you're saying. We're just constantly getting...
No, not at all.
I can take it.
No, very, very polite and lovely, but just a little bit more, straight, just straightforward. Yeah, a little bit more straightforward, I would say.
Joanne, this conversation is about to take a hard turn right here.
Okay, great. Looking forward to that.
Hard turn. Here we go. Just brace yourself. My son, when he was younger, he's older now, but when he was younger, the thing he was most obsessed with in the entire world was Bob the Builder. He dressed up like him every single day. We had a 5-hour car ride to Washington, D.C., where he made us play the theme song on a loop, the one song for 5 hours.
I bet that was a wonderful journey.
I'm having bad flashbacks about now, but I'm not just saying this to embarrass him on national radio, which is just a nice sort of extra, but rather that they're rebooting it and you're doing the voice of Wendy.
Yes, I will. I am the new Wendy in Bob the Builder. Yeah, it hasn't started airing yet, but we've got I think we're doing 115 episodes.
Oh my God.
So they're only 15 minutes long per ep, so it sounds a lot more than it is. But yeah, it's great fun. I absolutely love it. We're going to record singularly, and if you're ever in a little bit of a bad mood, just go and pretend you're recording a kids show, because you have to be so sort of upbeat and over the top, and it's great. You always come, I always come out in the best mood and just think this is great therapy as well.
What's the story with Wendy? Like, is she like a tool?
Wendy is amazing. Wendy is a real.
She's a person.
She's a person.
She's not
a truck. They can have talking.
She's not Scoop Mucker Dizzy. Okay.
Yeah. So Wendy is a high achiever. Wendy is now.
Sorry, I have two princess obsessed. If you weren't Sophia the First, we could talk. I don't know about this Bob stuff.
So Wendy's Bob's business partner now. And she's sort of brilliant at everything. We have an ongoing joke while we're recording that, Wendy just happens to be a champion skateboarder in a past life, and she's also she's the electrician, so she's the go-to girl for electrics. But she's, anything that sort of comes up in the script, Wendy's sort of like, I won 5 medals for that at school. And it's quite fun. I like it.
What can't she do?
Well, there's nothing she can't do.
There you go. Yeah, that's all.
First of all, I love that, you either have to go and wear your very sort of demure, neutral tone or sad dark tone costumes in Downton, or you get to just be in a booth recording. I want you to at some point just be in ball gowns. You got to play some kicked or just power Armani suits or
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on that one. Yes, we need to make that happen.
All right. Well, definitely. And cannot wait to see the rest of season 5 of Downton Abbey airs Sundays at 9 on Masterpiece on PBS. Joanne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Joanne.
Thanks for having me.
And we will be back on EW Morning Live.